Hey there everybody, and welcome back to more Sword of Etheria. So, at the end of the last mission, we had an unexpected visit from Golem, and it appears that that wily old Wolfman has decided to join our party and become our third member, at least until we can find Leon. But he is a good addition, as you can tell from his stats. He is very powerful, but, well, we are going to need all the help we can get as we head into the next stage, because things are going to get a little bit dangerous. So it seems that the gods have been dabbling a bit in the realm of science, and we've stumbled into their disposal facility for their failed experiments.
It's poison vapor.
I guess all in all, that's more or less an explanation as to why most of the enemies we're going to be fighting in this stage are, well, frogmen for the most part, that we fought in other levels. And while they're not really going to be posing that much of a threat, well, there are going to be a few additional dangers. Namely, we already ran into one of those poisonous pods, and they are going to be quite prevalent in this level. Now, while they are not too deadly to deal with, they can cause you to get stunned pretty easily if you do happen to be caught in their poisonous vapor. And, well, as you might guess, getting stunned is a pretty good way to get damaged very heavily by any enemy. The good thing is that the pods, as you see there, can easily be taken out if you do manage to get a hit on them. But once you get close to them, they will pretty readily start spouting out that poisonous gas. Still, old enemies are pretty easy to deal with, especially now that we have a third-party member again. And, well, you actually do have a choice of who your third-party member could be. Now, if you recall, we did fight a combo fight with both Juju and Golem, and depending on who you do take down in that fight, is who you're inevitably going to get partnered with in this level. Now, I chose to go with Golem, for the mere fact that I thought he would gel better with me and Almira, as basically, a melee-heavy Leon replacement. He also does have some additional benefits, just having a larger health pool and more damage than Juju would have. Also, it would keep me from having to say Juju a million times. But Golem does have a few things working against him. He has a few attacks which, well, they're not really too beneficial. You'll probably see him doing a couple of times, but his running attack is kind of a weird belly flop. And while it has a very nice range, it also has a massive knockback to enemies. So occasionally you'll be trying to work on an enemy, and he'll just blindly dash forward and do a belly flop into them, sending them sailing away. Also, even though it's more just a personal issue I have, or a personal difficulty I have with getting used to Golem, he has a very weird way of getting Feel's attention whenever he's about to juggle an enemy towards them. Instead of saying something like, "Hey Feel," or "Hey boy," as I think Leon would say, instead, he apparently says, "Hey Sonny," because he's apparently an old man. Like, his characterization is a bit strange. Like, I still have no idea if he is supposed to be an actual Wolfman, or if it's just supposed to be a helmet. It's not really explained. I don't know, maybe Katinas can be Wolfman. It's hard to say, but there is a reason that you do want to clear out most of this room. Part of that reason is the fact that one of these pods, as you already saw, will hold your collectible for the level, and you definitely don't want to miss that. But more importantly, well, considering we're dealing with a lot of weaker enemies, we're not going to be getting as much Etheria as we normally would. So we want to make sure and open up as many chests as possible, because one of them might hold a lot of Etheria. Also, inevitably, you just want to try to kill as many things as possible, because, well, they are going to be your main source of Etheria either way. Still, for the most part, it is nice that Gollum is just magically able to, mesh so well with our team.
Almira! Gollum! Sonny! Here we go! Almira! Gollum! Sure thing! Sonny! Here we go!
And also, I think by this point in the game, you've probably gotten a pretty good hold on just the entire juggle mechanics, and you've probably done some of the training to hopefully learn some of these additional abilities, such as jump canceling and, downward slashes. But now that we've finally cleared out that massive room, it's now time to continue on the left-hand path.
What's this room?
So it's Dark Etheria, is it? I'm sure there must be some kind of device around here somewhere.
Yeah, the devices he's referring to are the orbs here. And while the darkness is really not that much of a difficulty to deal with, it's not really a massive hindrance, it's still nice to get that out of the way, because sometimes your AI partners will decide to focus on the orbs no matter what. And that really leaves them open to attack.
Here we go!
And yeah, the reason that I choose the left path, no particular reason. It's not that much of an easier path, it's just they both kind of mirror each other, as with most multiple paths in the game.
Here we go! Almira! Sure thing! Sonny! Here we go!
Now this room can possibly be dangerous depending on how you approach it. I mean, two of these big rock guys, they will definitely stack up damage as quickly as they possibly can. But more importantly, this room is just massively littered with these pods. So you'll find yourself pretty easily surrounded by poison vapors if you happen to just go running about willy-nilly. Still, if you do manage to focus fire on the rock enemies as quickly as possible, it becomes a lot more manageable. Really, they are pretty much the larger danger overall in this room. And you want to focus on them either way because, with enough of a multiplier from your death blows, they are pretty much going to be your main source of Etheria in this entire level. Still, as long as you don't manage to aggro that fourth rock guy at the far end of the room. It's not too difficult, and, well, there's really no reason to attack any of the pods after you've found your collectibles, so, well, that really doesn't stop the AI from doing it. At least they aren't running into the poison vapor and getting damaged.
Let's take down this one!
Though I would appreciate their help.
Over here! Here we go! Right away! Feel!
Sure thing, Amira!
Feel! Here we go! Amira! Come! Here we go!
But yeah, I mean, if you were having, you know, trouble dodging the poison vapor, or you perhaps wanted a few extra Etheria, not a lot, you could pop open all of these pods, but really it's kind of a time waste. I think the only reason I even deal with these last couple of guys is just because they're not too difficult to deal with. Yeah, though at this point, I've decided that it's probably better just to get out of here before our guys actually start to hurt themselves. But yeah, this room can be a massive dick move, if only for the fact that, well, you might think, yeah, I can probably start juggling one of these guys before the other two rock assholes start to pummel me, but you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong and losing quite a bit of health. I mean, it's at least nice that they decide to use the dark mechanic one more time, even though they made such a big deal about it. I don't know, it's really easy to see everything, so I think if anything it just brings up the question of why call it Dark Etheria? I mean, is it actually a fog created by Dark Etheria? I mean, I figured it'd be easy enough just to have a dark room, considering that we're deep underground, but yeah. I'm sure it sounds cooler.
Here we go!
Just like that, we are finally into the home stretch. This is pretty much our last stop before heading to the boss, and it is a pretty lengthy stop all around. It's a nice square room with each of the four corners holding a lovely item for us to pick up, along with a few pretty easy enemy encounters. It's a nice little breather after the difficulty that you might have had with the previous level.
Feel! Amira! Column!
Sunny!
Here we go!
Yeah, just for the sake of time, and just because not a whole lot happens, I decided to speed up this bit. There's honestly one other enemy encounter up here. That's pretty much it. You can get an item. I think it is an item called the Hunter's Ring. I don't know if I will be putting that on afterwards, but I might. Probably shouldn't be needing it, considering I think for the most part we've been easily getting A's and B's. Yeah, now comes the main difficulty of this room, which is this lovely center fight here. We have two sword and shield guys who work in tandem pretty well. And we have a very large rock asshole along with, they seem to be defending this pod for their lives, with their lives. Yeah, for some reason this squad of enemies works very well together. They stay very closely knit, and a lot of them, or at least half of them, have the ability to juggle you and launch you up into the air. Not to mention there's just There's the poison plant in the center. There's acid drops coming from the ceiling that you can't really tell. Seems like it would be simple, but yeah, it's surprisingly not. Especially, there is another ambush shortly afterwards with relatively the same makeup. I ended up taking this encounter a bit too lightly, and I kind of paid for it pretty heavily.
Sunny! Golem! Almira!
Feel! Here we go! Here we go!
Especially since it's sometimes easy to forget that the rock guys do all have a grab attack. Thankfully, the enemy is nice enough to have a little conversation and coffee before I get back up. It's very considerate. But with that encounter out of the way, it's now time to head on to the boss and deal with possibly one of the harder boss encounters in the entire game.
Leon? Leon, that's you, isn't it?
Stop.
What's the matter, Almira?
Careless fool. Look closer.
What the?
No need to be surprised. They're probably replicas created by the gods.
Replicas?
Since their descent, we're the only ones who've ever openly defied the gods. And even though we lost, we at least dealt them a pretty hard blow. The gods must have thought they'd better find a way of dealing with us somehow.
And so they made these fake things? A silly ploy.
Whether they created them to fight us or had some other purpose in mind, I don't know, and I don't have any way of finding out either. But whatever the gods' intentions, it certainly can't be good for us. Stay calm, Phil. Don't think about the way they look.
Okay, I know.
The first thing we've got to do is get rid of this darkness.
Okay.
So yeah, that little fade you saw there is because, well, I got pretty much annihilated by these guys. Even with a reasonable amount of practice and a reasonable amount of skill at the game, this fight against a trio of doppelgangers is, well, it's beyond difficult, I would say. There's really no good way I found to approach this fight. I've seen some strategies say have each one of your party members try to focus fire on, one individual fighter so that maybe you'll just be left to fight one-on-one with one of the doppelgangers. But more than anything, I found that having all three guys focus fire on just one of the doppelgangers to eliminate it as quickly as possible is usually the best way to go. 3-on-3 it's just really, really hard. It's especially since none of these guys really feel the want to get away from their partners. You're going to get juggled, you're going to have one guy blocking and the other two attacking. You're pretty much, they fight really like you do. But yeah, once you've eliminated one of them, things become a tad bit easier. I wouldn't say a lot easier, because you still do a lot of damage, but yeah, it becomes a lot more reasonable to approach. I do like the idea, though, that the gods have become so intimidated by Theon and his group that they've been making these weird clone practice dummies to try to figure out some strategy that'll work, but yeah, this fight really, really do not like it at all. So even after that successful fight, a lot of tough information to gather in there. See you next time.